Hey, and welcome to Limitless Women. My name's Andrea, and it's Friday takeaway time. Today I'm sharing with you 2 habits from Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. If you've read it, it's a timely reminder. If you haven't, then I'd highly recommend it. It's an oldie but a goodie. So what are they? Well, the first one is to be proactive. As human beings, we have the freedom to choose and not just react. How we respond to our circumstances is everything. It can be the difference between responding to a conversation and responding to a question that is aligned with our value set. Or it could be the difference between spiraling out of control and becoming a victim of our circumstances, or getting some self-awareness and rising above our circumstances. Proactivity empowers us to create our circumstances. We all have our wheel of life, and around that wheel of life are things within our control. So like our family, our health and well-being. And sometimes on that wheel of life there might be things out of our control, like fun and adventure. COVID, for example, completely out of our control. And remember, we talk a lot about focusing on what you can control. Things like your boundaries, things like your circle of influence. We've talked a lot this week about the average of the 5 people that you hang out with. Things like your reactions and your choices. Proactive people focus their time and energy on the things that they can do something about. So that leads me on to my next point, which is start with the end in mind. I think this is a really great one. So many of my clients come to me feeling stuck and not really sure where they're going. And we're all guilty of sleepwalking through our lives sometimes, and I get it. We just get busy and we just go with the flow. But before you know it, you're 10 years down a track that maybe you had no plan of ever going down. And you'll find yourself in a situation that you never thought you'd be in. And so, how do you wake up? Well, ask yourself a question. Where do you want to be in 25 years' time? And if that's too scary for you, too overwhelming, then where do you want to be in 10 years' time or 5 years' time? If you don't develop now some self-awareness and become responsible for your own path, then all you're doing is empowering other people and circumstances to shape your life by default. And remember that we want to live our lives by design and not by default. If we're letting other people shape our lives, we're not having a say in that. We're merely reacting. And that leads me right back to the first point. Get proactive. So here's 2 questions for you for your Friday takeaway. The first one is, what do you want? That's a loaded question. And I get that sometimes when you ask that, people are like, I don't know, I just don't know what I want. Okay, so where do you want to be in 10 years? Let's go with that. Where do you want to be in 10 years? You don't have to write it down. You don't have to go down a rabbit warren of detail. You just need to feel it and vision it and think about maybe 1 or 2 things and where you want to be in 10 years. And then the second point is, what can you do right now? What one thing can you do right now to do something about it? And get proactive. And that's your Friday takeaway. I hope it helps. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time. Bye.